Okay. Hi, folks. Welcome to another podcast, another episode of the podcast. And, in these challenging times, we have obviously seen a lot of businesses that have been badly challenged, but we've also seen a few companies that have thrived, depending on the industry, the background, and so on. And so today we're very honored and privileged to have a guest, a very special guest, none other than Datuk Hafsah Hashim, whom I think many of you will know as a long-serving CEO of SME Corp. And currently, she is the SME Advisor for Bank Islam. So we're very privileged to have her with us to share with us some of her insights on how SMEs can become stronger, build themselves up, maybe come back from recovery, and move forward with a stronger grit and better equipped. So welcome, Dato' Hafsah, to our Profit Max podcast.
Thank you so very much, Peter. Thank you so very much, Peter, for inviting me to this very wonderful session that we're going to have today. I look forward to the conversation today.
Sure. Yeah. So maybe to start off, Dato, you could tell us a little bit about your time in SME Corp especially, and tell us a bit about yourself and what exactly SME does and how SME Corp has responded to the needs and times of the SMEs, challenges of the SMEs.
Wow. Interesting question that you have there, Peter. Well, if I were to bring myself back into memory lane, I was in METI back then, in the international division, when I've been approached by the then Secretary General to join the team to start off SMIDEC, which is Small and Medium Industries Development Corporation.
Yes.
And this was established in the year 1996 on the 1st of May. Of course, 1st of May is a holiday, so it's 2nd of May that we were incorporated as the Small and Medium Industries Development Corporation. So until my retirement, so I've been around doing the SME bit for a good 23 years.
Wow.
And as you highly recognize, and also, many would have recognized back then, where METI is concerned, they were very much into SMI in the 1990s. Yes. You hardly hear anyone talking about SMEs back then, right?
Yes.
But primarily because METI, by virtue of the fact, is METI, Ministry of International Trade and Industry. They were moving at that time in the mid-90s, were very much into industrial master plan. They were very much moving into vendor development program for the multinational corporations of the electronic companies in Penang, for Proton, for Produa, for Telecom Malaysia, for Tenaga National. So what they were at that time, it was just about vendor development. You see, for small businesses, and it was very much skewed towards, I would say, manufacturing at that time. Except for Petronas, except for telecoms and TNB. So other than that, it was primarily purely for electronic companies, for Proton and for Produa. We brought along, and I recall, I want to share with you that when we wrote this Industrial Master Plan 2, for SMI development, we were only given nothing more than a 1 page. It was about 4 or 5 paragraphs on SMI development, and primarily about vendor development program. And, fast forward, when the government decided that they want to create a special SMIDEC, which is SMI Development Corporation, we then saw that, hey, as this small businesses is not just about manufacturing, not just about SMIs, but what we are missing in the whole entire equation of SME development are the E's, which is the enterprises. And what we mean by the E's, it includes ICT companies that was not taken on board back then. It includes retail sector that was not taken on board back then. And when I was appointed as a CEO back in 2004, I myself, I need a database. I cannot go on imagining that, how many SMEs out there. And it's, you see, I believe in the principle, what you cannot manage, you cannot plan. When you cannot plan, therefore, I mean, what you cannot, I beg your pardon again, what you cannot measure, you cannot plan. When you cannot plan, you cannot manage.
Yes.
Because you don't have the data.
Yes.
Right? There never was an SME data. So in 2004, together with Bank Negara Malaysia, and also with the Department of Statistics, we did our first census. That was the year that I was appointed as a CEO.
Okay.
In 2004.
Okay.
2004, I was appointed as CEO, and we did our first census. So therefore, we'll be able to see really what's really out there in terms of numbers. Yeah. So,
you can see also the specific sectors and the representation of each sector. Huh?
Exactly. Yeah. So we know them by size. We know what is a micro. We know what's a small company. We know what is a medium company. How many out there? We know how many in the manufacturing. We know how many in the services. How many in oil and gas. Once and for all, we had the first data from that census of SMEs in the year 2004 census, and the results was released in 2005. So that particular said to us that there are 99.2% of total business establishments in Malaysia that are defined as SMEs. And this manufacturing sector that we keep on calling SMI is only 7%.
Okay.
The majority of the population of small businesses are the the services sector, out of which 43% are the retail sector.
Okay.
Then comes the point. So who is overseeing this other than the manufacturing, other than 7%? Who is overseeing them? Who is overseeing the retail sector? Who is overseeing the ICT companies? Who is overseeing the construction sector? Then we began to develop what we call the SME Master Plan, which brings together coordination of all the ministries, the agencies that develop that that they are in charge of the retail sector, construction sector. So it becomes more structured, right? Okay. So everybody knows, for example, the Ministry of Domestic Trade, right? So we shared with them, hey guys, this is the data. You actually have got under your wings 43% of the total business establishment that is under your wing. And these are the companies, we shared with them. These are under your jurisdiction. So let's make sure that all programs for SMEs in retail are being coordinated together with the whole entire plan. Okay. So then began that SME master plan that we developed in 2012. Okay. Now, only then are we able to see more impactful programs with real outcomes, and we're able to measure the growth of the SMEs. We are able to come up with KPIs, and be able to measure innovation at SME level. Only then are we able to see how the growth of SMEs since 2004 to at least until I retired in 2018, that the SME growth have consistently outpaced the national average economic growth every year. Plus, it shows that our programs on the ground worked. It shows that we are able to give in the right, solutions to our small businesses. Yeah. And it shows that we're able to reach out to those companies that are in need. So when you ask me about my experience, that's where I came from the day that SMIDEC was created until it got rebranded into SME Corp in 2009. And until today, it's still known as SME Corporation. Now, the attention that is being given to SME development, I must say, during my time, has been given additional focus by none other than the #1 man himself, which is the Prime Minister. And this is being supported by Negara. At that time, the governor was Tan Sri Zeti. She has got this belief that the endogenous growth of any economy of the world comes from the small businesses, i.e.
Yes.
the domestic SMEs, right? So, and that component of the understanding of the word endogenous growth, which is the intel of the economy, is being contributed by SME, is so fundamental and so important for the government to understand, and that's the reason why the programs and the policies for the economic development and growth has got to be supported by SMEs. You would see that in any document of the world, in any country of the world, this famous statement which says that the backbone of any economy of the world comes from SMEs. So this is where that understanding of the word and growth is all about. All right.
All right.
So yeah, so that's how I think we are able to steer back then SME development and growth on the basis of a more coordinated approach with all the ministries. There were during my time there were 25 ministries. All have got programs for SME development, including Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Domestic Trade. All have got programs for SME development, and also their respective agencies. So we work together with them, hands in glove, and SME Corp become the central coordinating agency that oversees and coordinate programs for all these ministries and agencies for their SMEs growth. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good background, Dato', good background information. On that point about covering the A to Z, the whole broad spectrum of SMEs, I just wanted to get your perspective on which are the areas. I mean, sounds like SME Corp supports the entire gamut of SMEs, right? From retail to construction to ICT to what have you, I guess to wholesale distribution businesses as well, export-oriented companies, manufacturing and all. So is that how SME Corp is structured to support the individual, what should I call it, clusters or classifications or industries? Or does it go more by size of business?
It goes both ways. I would say it goes into by size of of the companies, as well as by the verticals. What I mean by the verticals are the industry sectors.
Industry sectors, okay.
Because each of those verticals, for example, electronics or automotive or whatsoever, the different size of the companies depicts a different program that is coming through. There is no one size that fits all. You cannot give the same program or the same solution to a company that is small under automotive, the same treatment to the company that is small under retail.
Okay.
Right? So they require different intervention. They require different programs that would allow them to accelerate their growth. And that's why we have got that SME master plan that facilitates and help us to be much more coordinated in providing that kind of intervention to the SMEs. What we say is that at SME Corp, and I repeat the word, we are coordinating together with the respective ministries, and we ensure that all these programs, in accordance to size and in accordance to industry, they all have got deliberate outcomes that comes through it. Outcome as in level of innovation must be measured, for example. Outcome as in programs for the export market. So how do you strategize them to go for export, for example? Outcome that strategizes them to go into expansion into the halal industry, for example. So each of those programs have got that they have been given deliberate outcomes, and they have to report to us on regular basis, because as the Secretariat of the National SME Development Council, right, where the Prime Minister is the chairman, and the members are from the ministers of the 25 ministries, including also the governor of central bank, including also the Director General of the right? So we actually assume that coordinating role to ensure that the various ministries who are in charge of the SME development program report to us twice a year, minimum, twice a year.
All right.
That report card goes to the Prime Minister at our meeting with the Prime Minister twice a year. And this keeps everyone on the toes because budget is given to them based on the performance of those programs. Budget is given to the ministries and agencies based on the the KPIs that was given for a particular program, right? So again, I repeat, it is outcome-based approach. If at all, for example, what we are seeing today that they have got some issues in handling COVID and others. So that's something that we I'm sure the ministry have already approached SME Corp, and they're able to have a relook again at the KPIs that's been given to them. So it's not something that is carved on stone. It is something that can be looked at again and revisited to ensure that it is implementable on the ground.
Okay, Dato, before I shift the question to ask you about your perception of what are some of the highlights that SME should look at and areas, soft spots that we can improve, just wanted to touch on the programs that you mentioned. So you were saying that programs are funded by budget depending on the success of the budget from each ministry from the previous year and so on. I just wanted to also check how does the SME Corp programs dovetail or coordinate with the various other training institutions, like you have InScan and Talent Corp and all these other bodies. Is there overlap or is there some coordination? How does it work?
Very interesting question. I can only say during my time as a CEO, I don't know what happens now, because during my time as a CEO back then, I myself will chair a meeting with all the training institutions twice a year. Twice a year, I do chair that meeting. Because why I chair that meeting? Because we receive a budget that is for capacity building, that is for SMEs to undergo training at all the state training institutions, right? So and this state training institutions sometimes take turns to actually host the meeting at that time. So it can be Penang Skills Development Center. We work together with the Kedah Skill Development Center, Johor Skill Development Center. So all these skills development centers, for information, they receive the budget from us, from SME Corp back then, right?
See.
And that is where we also work together with Human Resource Development Corporation, right? But this is where that coordination comes in, because sometimes there is an expertise that is a very deliberate expertise, for example, in PSDC, there is Penang Skill Development Center, but that same expertise we do not have that in Johor. So Johor requires that expertise. That's where you see that is a cross selling of expertise around the country through this work that we did under the capacity building program. So under
I believe this coordination is very important, because otherwise you could be working at cross purposes, and worse still, there could be a lot of overlap, which means a lot of duplication and a lot of wastage, no?
Indeed. And that's why this coordination of that training programs across the country is being held twice a year. So during my time, I had diligently, I would say, checked that meeting twice a year with all the skill development centers. I think we had good conversations. We were able to measure the outcome, importantly, of companies who have undergone training, because of the fact that we measure after they completed their training. We did not forget them. This is where the Skills Development Center are supposed to get back. We do survey of those employees that have been trained on what happened to them and how have their training been able to increase productivity
Yes.
in their respective organizations. And so that is so very important to us. Again,
Yep.
I keep on repeating the word this afternoon, outcome-based, what do
Yes.
you call it, programs. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, excellent. Okay, so shifting gears a bit, Dato, talking about the SMEs, maybe you could highlight, one or two issues or challenges that you see confronting the SME sector, and what are some soft spots in the Malaysian SME landscape, that perhaps need improvement and further strengthening in terms of capacity building or whatever it is.
I must say, one of the challenges that we had much earlier is to get our SMEs to move online back then, pre-COVID days,
Yes,
right?
yes.
What they found it, what do you call it, increased cost to them. They didn't see it as investment, right? They don't see the need to go online primarily because of the fact that, they're so happy having their little shops here and there, and people come to their shops and they don't need to go online. But I think what we are seeing today is digitization is actually essential and it's a commodity.
Yes.
And COVID have accelerated that part of SME development.
Yeah.
Those who do not digitize their systems, those who do not digitize their processes, those who doesn't go online, they all are being phased out from this, what do you call it, the word is sustainability of their businesses during COVID. And post-COVID, post-COVID, it will not go off. Post-COVID, this is more essential for them to do, what they call it, to move into a digitized perspective, primarily because of this, the demands of industrial revolution of the AIs, the VRs, the what do you call it, the big data all requires them to change differently, especially in terms of supply chain management. The whole entire perspective of supply chain management has changed.
Yes.
Because of digitization. And if SMEs are not up to it, if SMEs are not prepared, if SMEs choose to ignore that, what do you call it, the need to change into a more onto the digital platform, typically they will all be phased out of their business, and as they will not be sustainable, right? So this has always been the issue that we have trying to put forward pre-COVID. I recall back then, Peter, I think it was the year, it was the year 2000, was it 2009, 1997, 98, during the crisis. And here I was trying to introduce what you call ERP, but enterprise resource planning. Or the first word that came into it was MRP, right? That was actually manufacturing resource planning.
Yes.
I had a big challenge in trying to convince our SMEs to move into that space of ERP, MRP. They were clueless. All right.
Yep.
And it is only the year 2001 or 2002 that suddenly there was a surge of ERP being
What was the catalyst? What was the catalyst for that? What was the catalyst for that, Dato?
Well, we at SME Corp, we provide the grants for them to purchase the ERP software.
Okay.
Right.
Because so, I suspect the same thing is happening now, there was, I don't know about now. I mean, what you're saying is true. The e-commerce adoption has been pushed, accelerated by COVID. But the other aspects, in terms of AI and all that, big data and all that, I hear that there's some SMEs who are a bit reluctant because of several factors. One is the funding. They're not sure about the return on capital investment, because if you go into AI and robotics and all that, it's quite big investments. And the third one is, of course, mindset. So I'm not sure, how can we kind of, yes, at the same time, we know that, it's like an accelerating train coming towards us. If we don't digitalize, we're going to get hit. But at the same time, there's the reality of balancing the numbers, the return on investments, the risks and all that, and the size and scale of the opportunity. So how do we address that kind of situation, no?
Indeed it is. For as long as they look at it at expense and not look at it investment, they are going to be so reluctant to move into this space. And what we are seeing today, that those who were agile, those who were adaptive and quick to move into digitalized mode during COVID are the ones that are sustainable in their business. They are the ones that have survived the challenges of the COVID. Now, case in point, Peter, look at all the restaurants, the chicken rice shop, whatever you call it, the pizza have gone along into it. Even restaurants like Chef One restaurant, the Rebong restaurant, the Chef Ismail restaurant, all of them didn't move into online before. They were just, people come into the restaurants and they're happy. The more queue, the longer the queue, they're happy with that. But with COVID, look at them, they're the first one that suffered. Had they not changed back then into doing online, all right, they would have also suffered. Then you saw that they become creative. Then we saw that suddenly this chef Ismail from Rebong restaurant, who normally we take like a day or two to get our queue into and get into the restaurant, right?
For reservation,
during the COVID days, if you recall, they're the ones who have got, okay, to our menu for next week. Tuesday and Monday is a Kelantan menu. Tuesday is Johor menu. Can you see that they become creative? When they become creative and then they are able to provide services door to door, we are seeing a different kind of restaurateur, playing their game today. It's all about survival. It's all about how creative can they be. It's about agility in the business. Right? So when they're agile in the business and they're able to adapt quickly, now we are seeing a different kind of SMEs out there that have moved forward and be able to take on the advantage of opportunities that come through COVID. Now, who are the best, performers during COVID? The e-hailing business. And did we ever thought of that? That e-hailing business is going to be the business that thrived during COVID? So they were very much, you can imagine, I had a discussion with Foodpanda the other day. I had a shock of my life. Even riders, they told me during COVID, the number of riders they had to increase was about, was it 6 times or 12 times?
Wow.
That's how many riders that they have during COVID. And it's about giving opportunities to others. Even pilots become riders, even, professors also become riders. So what we're seeing is how the new landscape of businesses have changed during the COVID days. And this digitalized platform of a new ecosystem will stay. It will stay post-COVID. How do SMEs, how do small businesses fit into it in the name of sustainability, in the name of survival of their business, and in the name of their business growth? I want to share with you, Peter. Last month, in fact, for the whole month of October, I have been engaged by this JCI Junior Chamber, International Chamber of Commerce, right?
Yes.
To be a judge. This is a Creative Young Entrepreneur Award winner. I had 45 files that I got to complete in during the judging. 45 files are given to me that I have to do the evaluation within 1 month. And you know what I want to share with you? One of the characteristics that is so significant, as we were on the search to look out for the winner award, right? It's about agility. It's about digitalization. It's about perseverance during challenges. So what we saw, our top 10 winners have got all those important attributes. They were agile. They moved into digitalization so fast during COVID. When people were down and still thinking aloud what to do next, they quickly moved into online platform. And I was amazed. This young lady, who is our top 3 winner, all right. You would
what
have thought
industry,
that an
Dato'?
optician shop, an optician would just do a
Ah,
normal, what do
yes,
you call it, business as people come to the shop and
yes.
to repair your glasses or whatever. She went online straight away. She went online straight away. And
Wow.
she is our top performer at that Young Creative Entrepreneur
Okay.
Award. So that's
How
one
did,
that,
what aspect
right?
did you go online being an optometrist?
Exactly. So this is where she was so very creative. You never thought that, being optometrist that you can go online.
Yeah.
And I just talked about restaurant business earlier. But being an optometrist, how would you want to go online when you need to check the eyesight, She went differently. She went into AI straight away.
Wow.
So this is where you can see the adaptability and agility of businesses. She knew she had to survive. She knew that she's got to do things differently from the rest of the pack, right?
Yes.
So that's why that's where this kind of attributes. I was so very much impressed with this young lady, who is an optometrist, who dared to venture differently, who dared to move things differently, and I would say that she's now a trendsetter in terms of the optometry business.
Yes, definitely. I mean, moving optometry online, that's really quite amazing, no? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
Fantastic.
she's making use of technology. She's making
Yes,
use of
yes,
different
yes,
ways of looking at things.
yes. Yeah.
Be able to, yeah.
Yeah. So my take, Dato, is few qualities are needed, right? Number one, you were saying the ability to be agile, to pivot to new businesses, new opportunities when the tried and traditional start to flounder or being affected by external circumstances beyond your control, for example, COVID. And the third quality is being very, what do you call, ahead of the curve in terms of your knowledge and understanding of technology. Because I think these days, every business, whether you're in manufacturing, whether you're in retail, whether you're in wholesale, whatever industry, you got to get to grasp with technology. And the pace of technology is moving so fast. If you don't catch on, you just be left behind. And as technology becomes more and more, what do you call, broad-based, actually the cost of adoption becomes cheaper and cheaper, right? For example, I know a lot of programs are available for trial basis, which are free. And then, of course, if you want the higher end services, then you need to subscribe. Huh? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Great.
so spot on, Peter, because this is what I term it as future-ready enterprises.
Yes.
They are not ready. If they don't have these attributes of being able to anticipate, I call them, they must have the anticipatory skills of knowing what's in front of them, right? They must anticipate 10 steps ahead of them. They must be aware of the environment across them, whether it is left, right, center, front, and back. They've got to be able to be aware of what's happening around them in terms of competition. They've got to be predictive to having, what do you call it, the technicalities of understanding even how, what do you call it, blockchain is all about to do their business, how AI can change their business. So they've got to be predictive using those kind of instruments or software. And importantly, I think it's about the word is agility and adaptability. They have to move into that because we are in what you call a VUCA world.
Yes.
VUCA is volatility, uncertainty, and then you have got what do you call it, complexity and ambiguity. So in this VUCA world, as we move into 2022, we don't know what's coming on next. If you read the latest, what do you call it, October IMF prediction in terms of the world growth, Peter, what we saw is that 2022 growth for the world is even slower than 2021. So I quickly said, okay, I thought 2021 was worse. It was, but then what is this? 2022 is even lower. So besides Omicron, what else is going to come over, and create devastation to the economy? So apparently, this is IMF prediction. 2022 is going to be a slower growth, a much slower growth than 2021. 2021, I think the growth was 8.5%, the world growth, but 2022 prediction by IMF is only 6.5 versus 8.9 in 2021. 2022 is 6.5 growth. So I then start to wonder what else could be the challenge in 2022? We really don't know. That's why I mentioned about the VUCA world: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity.
Yeah, I guess it's because we came off a lower base from 2020. So this year we are looking at 7.5. And well, we don't know whether we'll finish 7.5. That was October. Maybe the last 2 months we'll be dropping it, dragging it down or whatever. But next year 6.5, huh? Okay. So hopefully we get back to a situation where we are more in control of things. But like you said, it's a really constantly evolving and disruptive world. And VUCA, I guess, is something we have to live with now. So your point about being agile and being responsive all the time is very, very important, huh? Okay. All right.
Indeed.
Yeah. So I guess in these times, a lot of businesses are challenged with cash flow management, no? And that's every entrepreneur's nightmare, being in a cash flow crunch. What advice would you have for business people to be watchful for as they recover and rebuild their businesses apart from cash flow?
Yeah, I understand perfectly where business are coming from. It's all about cash flow. It's all about how much financial strength that they have with them. But again, as I said, do not forget that doing business is beyond cash flow. It's beyond just money matters. It also looks into on how well we strategize our business plan and how well we look out for opportunities out there. If we keep on putting our focus and attention just on the cash flow, we might miss the boat of opportunities that are abound. This is where I mentioned about anticipatory mode. We have to move into the anticipatory mode because cash flows is a done deal for us. I think for SMEs out there, we always advise SMEs, they must ensure they have got 6 months cash flow. All right. Now, while they maintain that 6 months cash flow, what would they need to do next is to move beyond that 6 month cash flow. And to be able to move that, they have got to do things differently. It cannot be business as usual anymore. Right? They have to be moving into that again. I mentioned the word about adaptability, about what you call predictability. How do they
be more creative and more innovative?
Yes, how to get themselves aligned to the demands of the new technology that's coming out there, right?
Okay.
You cannot be the usual tailor shop. I'm saying about tailor shop. I want to share with you. I met this young man in Kelantan, before I retired. I retired in 2018. I met this guy in 2017, 2016. He just came back at that time, Peter, from University of Manchester, and he did what they call textile technology at University of Manchester.
Wow!
And when he met me, he says, "Datuk, I need your advice. I have got this vision that I want to change the batik industry in Kelantan, and coming from a young guy." Wow. I said, that is something, a great thing that you want to do, because he was sharing with me that the Kelantan batik industry is very much, it's hand painted, but with this kind of new technology, he shared with me, this is what he wants to do. I said, okay, can you give me a briefing? What is your plan? So he already have for this new batik industry, the whole entire Kelantan, what he wanted to do to the year 2025. Repeat, I had discussion with him in 2017. Wow. He already draw what's he going to do until 2025. And guess what, Peter? Guess what? When I walked into his shop, right, he was already using AI. He was able to tell me what is my measurement, what dress I wear, size M or whatever, right? He's able to tell me what size I wear. He's able to tell me what colors I like. And he's able to tell me from my eyes, whatever that he can read from my eyes. And this is using the software of AI.
Wow.
You see, what I'm trying to say is this is a kind of revolutionary, technological changes that we are looking at for tomorrow.
Yes.
And this is, again, I mentioned about being aware. You got to be aware of things are changing around us, left, right, center, back, and front. Things are changing. We cannot sit and do things business as usual.
Yeah.
Right?
So the
This guy is going to be
status quo
able.
will not last, right? You just stay on doing the same thing, you'll
No,
get blown away.
no,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, if Peter walks into his shop, he will tell you, Peter, you are wearing size this, and this is your colors, right? You like this kind of
Wow.
color. That's how he's able to tell. This is a kind of conversation that he's already having with me back then in 2017.
Yes, yes,
So the year is coming to 2022. Fast
yes.
forward from 2017 to 2022, I've not yet met this guy again. Of course, I'm really tired. Believe you
Yeah.
me, I don't know whether he has done according to the plan that he wanted to do to revolutionize the batik industry in Kelantan.
Yeah.
But
That's a
this is
great
what
story,
we
you know,
need to
Dato'. Yeah.
observe. This is what we need to observe. What did Anthony and Linda Tan did differently to create Grab?
Yes.
What did Nadim, the Minister of Education, did differently to create Gojek in Indonesia? And what did this young boy who came back from Manchester University is going to do to the batik industry? Watch out for these guys. Watch out for these guys, because they are the what do you call it, the change agent that is going to revolutionize the way how businesses will be conducted in the future. And that's why I said be future ready at all times. At all times, you need to listen, you need to watch with your eyes, and you need to actually participate in conversations with this kind of breed of new youngsters.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's actually a fantastic story, you know. And I think if I have one piece of advice for the entrepreneurs, especially the established ones, is to make sure you have a continuous flow of new and young people come into your business, no? Because these are the guys with the new ideas, they know the trends, they know the technology, they understand it much better, and they're more agile and they can move faster, no? Yeah.
Indeed, Peter. I want to share with you as I move into that direction slowly, in my retirement age, you know. And I've been also exposed recently.
You're too energetic to retire, lah, Dato'.
No, as I move into this what do you call it, in retirement phase. This lady who came to see me like 2 weeks ago, you know, we were having a casual conversation about personality traits. And guess what? This lady, correct? She has got this software. With you and I having a conversation, in less than 10 minutes, she will generate a report about my personality trait using AI.
Wow.
This is what it's moving into, Peter. This is what it's moving into. Using AI, using big data, using analytics, you know. It's all so overpowering. If we are not into it, we will be displaced from the whole entire equation sooner or later.
Yes. Yeah, this is how people get disrupted, no?
You will be irrelevant, and then you will see Hafsah becoming a dinosaur.
Yes. And this is not only particular to SMEs, right? Because you see the big giants, the former giants like Nokia and Kodak and Toys R Us, they were all disrupted and they are huge companies. These are people that were market leaders, dominant market leaders, and still they're no more on the planet.
And what causes that? Because they refuse to change.
Yes.
They say they're market leaders. They think they were doing things right.
Yes.
Right? So when
they didn't see the trends coming and they didn't adapt.
Exactly. So the market take over. They're being displaced out totally from the market. So just watch out for the signal. Watch out for that signal.
Yep. All right. Okay. So it's been a great pleasure talking to you, Dato'. Thanks for sharing all your points. And before we bid of goodbye, maybe one last question. No, would there be one or two pieces of advice that you want to give to the SME sector or people in business in general?
I will keep on saying the same thing, this message, that watch out for what is coming in the future, and that's why you have to be future ready, be anticipatory, be able to know 10 steps ahead of the rest of the pack, where that is going to lead you to. Be aware of what's around you, right? Be able to be predictive and knowing how to analyze your business plans thoroughly, and importantly, be agile and be adaptive.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dato'. I think that's been very enlightening. Thanks for spending this time with us. And those of you who are following our Profit Max podcast, this is season 2, and I look forward to interviewing more people and to bring you great insights from industry leaders like Dato'. And please like, subscribe, and share our channel so that we get more followers and let the message reach more people. Because these are very good insights from industry leaders, and we're trying to help everyone during this period. So thank you, everyone. Bye.
Very much, Peter. Thank you. Have a good new year.